Okay, this is my presentation on grizzly bear endangerment for my AP Bio final. So, some basic facts about the grizzly bear. Its scientific name is the Ursus arctos horribilis. Not sure if I pronounced that correctly. They're omnivores, just like us humans. Their main foods include berries, fish, elk, seeds. They also eat things such as roots. They have multiple different habitats they could be in. They could be in a dense forest, subalpine meadows, frozen tundra, or open plains. Their lifespan is pretty good. They live to be about 20 to 25 years. They're extremely big animals. The adults weigh between 300 to 850 pounds, and they're 6 to 7 feet long and pure muscle, basically. But they have one of the slowest gestation periods for any mammal. It's between 180 to 270 days. Their litter size can be about 1 to 4 cubs, even though it's generally about 2 or 3. Usually the larger the litter size, the higher the mortality rate is for the cubs. So say if there's 4 cubs, then about most of the time half of those cubs will die. But on top of being extremely large animals, they can still run at extremely fast speeds. They can run up to 35 miles per hour. And because of their extremely strong back legs, they can run faster uphill because of that. Basically, if you get in a race with a bear, you're not going to win that like any time. But some of the ecological interactions between the grizzly bears, their niche is pretty unique. Their niche actually includes their scat. So since they're omnivores, they eat both plants and animals. So when they eat berries, berries include a lot of nutrients and stuff like that. So their scat includes all the seeds and nutrients from the berries, and that scat helps plants grow better. And it's a really nice relationship the bears and the plants have, because the bears will go ahead and eat the berries, so they get a source of food, and the plants benefit from this as well because their seeds will be spread out across the entire ecosystem. And the grizzly bears are tertiary consumers. I also don't know if I pronounced that right. So they're basically on top of the food chain. They eat primary consumers and producers. So producers being plants, primary consumers being things such as elk. But they don't really have a direct threat in terms of predators. But they do compete with other consumers such as wolves that are on top of the food chain. They compete for food since they eat mainly the same things. But wolves are carnivores, I believe. So the evolutionary history for grizzlies, they can be traced back a long time. Bears have been around for a very long time. They can be originally traced back 20 million years ago. It's when the first bear-type species popped up. It's called the Ursavis elemensis, which was in the Miocene era. And then 10 million years ago, there's another common ancestor. It's called the Ursus minimus, which was in the Pliocene era. And 1.5 million years ago, which is when the grizzly bears were first got their most common ancestor. It was most closely related to the Ursus etruscus, or the Etruscan bear. They're determined to be the most common ancestor to grizzlies now. But today, the polar bear is probably the closest related to grizzlies, and the polar bears derived from the grizzlies about 300,000 years ago. And on top of the polar bears being close relatives, so are the American and Asian black bears. But in terms of why I did this project, why they are endangered, the grizzly bear population has fell off hugely since the 1800s, actually. The grizzly bear population has lowered from 50,000 to 1,800 in the lower 48 states, and the lower 48 is basically the continental United States, not Alaska. So areas such as Wyoming, Idaho, Montana, even parts of Washington, there's grizzly bears. And the main reason for all this is humans, of course. We seem to ruin everything. So hunters, mainly poachers, are a huge cause for their decline. Construction such as roads and houses and stuff like that mining iron, coal, those get in the way, and logging. Logging is huge because it destroys all the trees, and since grizzlies like to be in dense solitary forests like that, you take away their trees, you're taking away their entire habitat, and it's destructive towards them. So a conservation plan to keep the grizzly bears safe, the goal is obviously to save the lives of the grizzlies and to try and restore their population to what it once was, while maintaining their habitat and keeping them safe. So the main goal we're trying to do is to purchase land for the grizzly bears. That way there cannot be any human interactions, there wouldn't be poaching, there wouldn't be construction, logging, anything like that, so they could have a safe spot, such as like the national parks do, like in Yellowstone. That is a safe place for grizzly bears. And we also are trying to seek reform from in the government to try and reduce the construction and the logging. Try to get numbers down for that so that the grizzly bears can be safe. And in terms of hunting, implement heavy fines and even jail time for people that illegally poach and hunt without licenses, because it is just generally dangerous. And it is a main reason for why grizzly bears are declining. So basically, this is my presentation on grizzly bears.